Good morning, students. In our previous class, we discussed about the rational and equitable use of water by taking an example of Hiwari Bazaar. Now we are going to learn about the another topic in the same lesson, that is our fifth chapter, Indian Rivers and Water Resources. The subtopic is water as common pool resource. Here, water as common pool resource means water is belonging to all the people. It means it is a public property. So everyone has a right to use it. For example, you take some public properties like rivers, bridges, dams, parks, forests, they are all called as the public properties. It means everyone has a right on it. Like the same way, here water also a public, we have to consider water as a public property so that everyone can has a common right on it. But to consider water as a common property, there is a one hindrance is there, that is groundwater law. Groundwater law becomes the hindrance to consider water is a common pool resource. Let us see about what does the groundwater law says. See, the present groundwater law in many states are inappropriate. Inappropriate means it is not good. Let us see what does the groundwater law says. The present groundwater law, here law means rule. The present groundwater law says the owner has a complete right to take the water from the ground as he wishes. That's why it is inappropriate in many of the states. Why it is inappropriate means what does the water law says? Owner has a total right. Owner has a total right on the groundwater. What happens if the owner has a total right on the groundwater means the owner takes some more groundwater from his land and he uses the water as his wish. Because of the more use of groundwater by the owners, the groundwater levels decreases in the future. It means the future generations people will face the problem of severe shortage of groundwater. That's why we should not allow the owner to take the water as he wishes. We have to put some restrictions on the owners not to take more water from the ground to save the future generations from the shortage of water. Let us see why groundwater law was made like that means it was made in the past. In the past, very less number of people was used the groundwater. By considering the less number of people usage of groundwater, the government made the law that is favorable to the owner. Government thought that very less number of people are using the groundwater in the past. That's why even though we allow the owner to take the water as his wish, there is no shortage of water for the future. But now, in the present days, most of the people are depending upon the groundwater only for the domestic use as well as for the agricultural use. If we allow the present law which was made in the past, the owners will take the more water from the ground. It causes the shortage of water for the future generations. That's why current law we have to be changed because it is inappropriate. The current law says that, current law means the present water law says that there is a link between ownership of the land and also the groundwater. First, to change the present water law, we have to de-link the ownership of the land on the groundwater. Let us listen carefully. We have to change this groundwater law for the future generations. Listen, because of the using of more water for different purposes, some conflicts are arising. It means people are competing with each other to draw the more water from the ground. Because of this competition to draw the more water from the ground, the water tables will be decreases in the future. Listen carefully. That's why we have to change the groundwater law. Let us see here. Government gave the owner to have a total control over the groundwater. It is not good. Why? Because owner has the control over the land only, on the surface only. Why? Because this surface, for example, you take a land, this surface only has the boundaries. This surface only has the boundaries. But the water under the ground does not has the boundary. For example, you take a plot of land. Plot has certain boundary. What does the owner contains? But under the ground there are no boundaries. It means the water under the ground does not have any boundaries. That's why what happened? The water under the ground goes to the another side. It flows to the another side. That's why we should not give the owner to have a total right over the land. For example, you take the two lands, land 1 and another land 2. Water is a flowing resource. You know that on the surface water flow with high speed. How water flow on the surface with a high speed? Under the ground also water flows from one layer to another layer. For example, take two lands, land 1 and land 2. If one person in the land 2 dig a deep bore well, he can take the more groundwater from the surrounding land also. Why? Because under the ground there are no land boundaries. So when people are digging the more deep of bore wells, they take the water from the another land. So the digging of bore wells in the another land consumes the water of the other person's land. That's why we have to put some restrictions on the water of underground. So in order to put the restrictions, we have to change the present groundwater law. See here, because of the present law, some disputes are occurring among the people. One of the dispute that I am going to explain to you, that is about the dispute has occurred in Perumatti village. This Perumatti village is located in Kerala state in India. In this Perumatti village, Coca-Cola company, you know that cool drinks company, Coca-Cola company established its one of the base in Perumatti village to prepare the cool drinks. So there is a dispute arises between the Coca-Cola company owners and the Perumatti village Gram Panchayat. Why? Because earlier Coca-Cola company was established here. It takes the groundwater from the Perumatti village to prepare the cool drinks. Those cool drinks Coca-Cola company sell to the people to get the profits. This time Coca-Cola company went to the Perumatti village Panchayat for the renewal of license to continue its Coca-Cola company in Perumatti village. This time Perumatti village Panchayat decided not to renew the license of the Coca-Cola company. The reason is this Coca-Cola company, by taking the license from the Perumatti Gram Panchayat, this Coca-Cola company extract the more groundwater and prepares the cool drinks and sell to the public in order to gain the profits. Because of the groundwater table decreases in the Perumatti village. Because of the decreasing of groundwater levels in the Perumatti village, there is a shortage of groundwater has taken place in the Perumatti village people for using of water for domestic purpose as well as for the cultivation of crops. As well as the Perumatti village primary health center. Primary health center is nothing but hospital. The primary health center of the Perumatti village also concluded that because of this taking of more groundwater by the Coca-Cola company, the quality of the water also has decreases. It means water levels has decreases, the quality of the water also has decreases. That was decided by the primary health center. It concluded that the water in the Perumatti village is not fit for drinking. So two problems arises. Groundwater level decreases as well as water quality also has decreases. That's why Perumatti village panchayat decided not to renew the license of the Coca-Cola company this time. But the Coca-Cola company officials, they are saying that they own the land in the Perumatti village. According to the groundwater law, they are arguing that. According to the present groundwater law, Coca-Cola company owners are saying that we are the owners of the land in the Perumatti village. That's why we have the complete right to take the water from the ground. But it causes the shortage of water for the people of the Perumatti village. So this case, the dispute that has occurred between the Perumatti village and the Coca-Cola company went to the court of Kerala. Now this case is pending in the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in our country till 2014 onwards. But when this case went to the High Court of the Kerala, two different judgments were given by the two judges. The first judge, let us see the judgment of the Kerala. The first judge, Judge 1. Judge 1 gave the judgment that this groundwater is a public property. It is not belonging to any one individual. If we give the total right to the landowner, that landowner will take the more water. It causes the shortage of water for the people of that village. That's why the first judge gave the judgment favorable to the Perumatti village and not allow the Coca-Cola company to extract the more water from the Perumatti village. And another judge, Judge 2, second judge gave the judgment according to the groundwater law. He argued that the present groundwater law says that owner has the complete right to take the water as his wish. That's why the second judge is arguing that the Coca-Cola company has a total right to take the water from the ground. It means on the same case regarding the usage of groundwater, the dispute that has occurred between Perumatti village and Coca-Cola company, two different judgments has came. Judge 1 gave the judge favorable to the Perumatti village and Judge 2 gave the judgment favorable to the Coca-Cola company. That's why these two different judgments regarding the same case explains about the confusion of water law in our country. So still we have to this case is pending in the Supreme Court till the 2014. Whatever it may be, to save the water for the future generations, the present law we have to amend. Amend is nothing but we have to change. Otherwise, the future generations people will severely face the water shortage. Listen carefully. In this topic of Indian rivers and water resources, we discussed that in India, rivers may be classified into two categories. That is the perennial rivers and the non-perennial rivers. Already we discussed that perennial rivers are Ganga, Indus and Brahmaputra. They are called perennial because these rivers carry the water throughout the year. That's why they are called as the perennial rivers. Non-perennial rivers means you take the Godavari, Krishna, Mahanadi, Narmada and Tapati. They have the much water only in the rainy season. In the remaining season, either these rivers will dry up, otherwise they carry the less amount of water. These are all the things we discussed about the two classification of drainage system in India. And also in this topic we discuss about the water used in the Tungabhadra river basin. We discussed that Tungabhadra, it is the tributary of the river Krishna. This Tungabhadra river water is shared by the two states of Karnataka as well as in the Andhra Pradesh. The total catchment area of the Tungabhadra is 71,417 square kilometers. Out of this, much of the water, nearly 57,671 square kilometers of catchment area is in the Karnataka. Less amount only flowing in the Andhra Pradesh. Generally, water is shared. River water is shared between the state governments based upon the agreements. Regarding the sharing of the water of Tungabhadra, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka have some disputes because both the states are mainly depending upon the agriculture. That agriculture needs the more water. So having of more water is very essential for the survival of the farmers in these two states. Why the disputes has occurred means The Karnataka government has built one new dam over the river Tungabhadra, that is Almatti Dam. It also increases its height. Because of the building of this Almatti Dam, the less water only available for the people of the Andhra Pradesh. That also we discussed that the water used in the Tungabhadra river basin. And also in this topic we discuss about the rational and equitable use of water by taking the Hiwari Bazaar. You know that Hiwari Bazaar is a village located in Ahmednagar district of Maharashtra. This district Ahmednagar is located in the drought prone district. Generally in India 72 drought prone districts are there. 72 drought prone. It means those districts receives a very less amount of rainfall. These 72 drought prone districts are spread in the 13 states. This Ahmednagar also one of the drought prone district. On the drought prone district of Ahmednagar, Hiwari Bazaar is located. So this Hiwari Bazaar village was chosen by the Maharashtra government to implement the Adarsh Gram Yojana program. Under the Adarsh Gram Yojana program, many works were taken by the Maharashtra government in Hiwari Bazaar. For example, you take plantation, nothing but planting of trees in the forest lands as well as in the roadside, as well as building of water harvesting structures like check dams, percolation tanks, these all the things. And also many water conservation works and soil conservation works were taken, as well as CCT, continuous control trenches were dug. In order to select a village by the Maharashtra government to implement the Adarsh Gram Yojana program, Maharashtra government set some preconditions. Already we discussed that. What are the conditions? For example, you take the Kurhad Bandi. Kurhad Bandi means ban of cutting trees. It means people should not cut the trees. Next one, Nas Bandi. Nas Bandi means family planning. Everyone have to give birth to the one or two children only. And third one is Nasha Bandi. Nasha Bandi means ban on liquor. So people should not consume the alcohol. And the fourth one is ban on Charai Bandi. Nothing but ban on free grazing. It means animals should not be allowed to graze the grass. But we can cut the grass, we can carry the grass to feed the animals. These are the four bans that was set by the Maharashtra government to choose the village under the Adarsh Gram Yojana program. In addition to these four, another one is there, that is the Sramadan. Sramadan means voluntary physical labor. This Sramadan is exempted for the landless people. In addition to all these things, some more bans also was added. That is ban on digging of bore wells for irrigation. And also there is a ban on cultivation of water intensive crop like sugar cane and banana. Okay, these all the things was and also there is a ban of selling one's own land to the outsiders. Because of all these things, water levels has increases in Hiwari Bazaar. Now we discuss about the water as a common pool resource, and also discuss about the dispute that has taken place between the Perumatti village and the Coca-Cola company. Now this is the end of the chapter. We will discuss another chapter in the next class.